Fresh off the RPO car, the long-awaited Lionel Volume 2 catalog is here. What hot new items catch our attention, and who's going to have their wallet go into witness protection? We ask your burning questions and get the inside scoop from the fantastic folks at Lionel. All this and more. So get your ticket from the station, grab a seat, and make sure you don't miss the train. What? Good evening, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to episode 81 of the Miniature Models Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, John Schwartz, and with me, as always, are my fellow co-hosts, Matt Rochford, Matt Z, and Johnny. Gentlemen, how are we tonight?
We're doing pretty good, man. I'm always excited to do these catalogs. I get to do them twice a year, so always a great time to talk with Ryan and the Lionel folks and all of our guests. So I'm really looking forward to tonight.
Our rebellion failed. The Mats are back.
I know.
Can't get rid of us.
No, you can't do it. It's only been like 5 episodes without me, you know.
The
John usurpers will not, complete their quest. So it is really, really great to be back. Yeah, I have missed the last couple episodes, but it's nice to be back, especially for the catalog episode, which is always really fun to go over with the Lionel folks and our special guests for tonight as well. I'll let John introduce them, though.
Yes, indeed. We have some fantastic guests. It is great that you guys are back. We've missed you both dearly. And we've got a full crew on board of not just you guys, but we've got some special guests as well. From Lionel, we have got Meghan, Corey, and Ryan. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for another fantastic show. We had an absolute blast last time, and we are super, super, super excited to have you guys back again.
Well, thank you for having us back. We're glad to be here.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. And from YouTube, we have got our friends Peachy, Eric, and Mr. Sid as well. Guys, thank you also for being here with us tonight.
Thank you for having us on.
Great to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to be back.
Oh, yeah. We are going to have a good one tonight. Again, thank you, everybody, for being here. And we have got a bunch of stuff to go over, so we are going to dive straight into this fantastic catalog. All right, so right out of the gate, we have got a fantastic rendition of the Vision Line GG1 coming back since, I think it's been a while since we've had this one in the catalog, and there are a ton of new road names and offerings in this one, some really interesting, different ones. You want to tell us a little bit about this one, Ryan?
Sure. One of my favorite locomotives personally of all time, prototype or model in any scale. And you're right, this was the first time back in the catalog as a full-scale version since 2016. This was the first time we visioned the GG1. And since then, we've made a few upgrades and changes, but kept also a lot of the great features in what was already a really promising and really strong locomotive. So these have the die-cast body, either the welded or riveted versions, riveted body styles, I should say, with a variety of detail options between them as well to reflect changes that were made over the years. There's some different pilots, different MU hose configurations, things like that, things around the windows. Feature-wise, these are like a normal legacy diesel, but up on steroids a bit. So you've got stereophonic sound with the speakers at both ends of the locomotive that really helps with the sound system balance in here. Dual motors, of course. We have redone the gearboxes on these to make them a little bit more smooth running, particularly going down hills than the last round of Vision GG1s were. We had to redesign the gears there to accommodate that a little bit better. And then I think everyone's favorite feature on these really is the pantographs. They operate prototypically, so the rear pan is normally in the up position when you're moving forward. So if you reverse direction, the lead pan should come up and the rear pan go down, or vice versa. The pantographs are sprung, so they do have a nice bounce. If you have installed catenary over your layout, they'll ride along that nicely. If you haven't, they'll just reach up skyward, and the train will run just nevertheless. It runs on the power of imagination, so we're all good to go there. You get the little sparking LED feature up on the crossbars, which is also really cool, along with the catenary arcing sound that plays. If your railroad does have tunnels or low bridges or clearance issues, there are switches on the pan so that you can lock them down manually, and then they will not raise as it's going around the layout, so you don't have to worry about tearing off your pantographs on low clearances. There's also de-icing mode, so that if you're running your trains and you want to simulate a winter run, sometimes they would double pan so that the lead pantograph basically acted as an ice scraper on that wire. So you have that option in there as well, which is a neat feature in here. Of course, directional headlighting, the class lights, cab lights. We've got fan-driven smoke for the steam generator on these as well. So you have that as an option. All of the, like I said, everything you expect in a Vision locomotive. Crew talk will be road number specific on these Vision engines. And they're quite a good locomotive, and they will do an 054 curve, I believe, is what we put on these. I have to blow that up and look at it. My eyes are shot, but they do have a good bit of overhang, but they'll negotiate a nice tight curve too.
That's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, no, these have always been really popular. I mean, it's a freaking GG1 for crying out loud. It's one of the most iconic engines ever, and the fact that you guys are constantly improving your Vision line stuff. And keeping the stuff that we love. I mean, Lionel's known for fun features and stuff. So getting the pantographs and then, hearing that you guys are improving stuff is absolutely great. And you guys have done some really, really good schemes this time too. I think a couple that have never been done in O before. I could be wrong on that, but I think there's at least one or two.
It's possible. I mean, a lot of people have made GG1s, so there's some I know we haven't done before, but that doesn't mean that somebody else out there hasn't. Let me correct myself on one thing before the internet police take me away. This has an 072 minimum curve, not 054, but still a good looking locomotive. The passenger cars that we have in the catalog will do 054. So for paint schemes, we went all over the place, and that's one of the things I love about the GG1 is you can never have too many of them, and you can get a dozen of these things and not duplicate a paint scheme. And still have more to go. So we chose a variety here, some that we haven't done in the last round or last several rounds of these, or never, as you mentioned, which should be nice for people who are looking to fill out their collections a little bit more. And then we also have a lot of trains and equipment to go with the various paint schemes as they would be appropriate. We've tried to group them somewhat along those lines in the catalog to help guide you in how to match things up, but you don't have to take our word for it. You can pair the locomotives however you see fit with the trains that you like to run.
So I want to ask a quick question before we keep diving into the GG1s and the passenger sets. So you mentioned redoing the gearing for them to improve the way they run. I know a few people with the last run of Vision Line GG1s that had issues with them actually just starting, kind of like a pulling power issue, that they basically would stall and then you'd have the flashing cab light. Do you think that as part of that regearing that will help with that, or is there some kind of reprogramming that's going to be done with these new ones to accommodate kind of like a load when they first start and then once they're off they're kind of good, or what is the thinking behind that?
Yeah, during the follow-up from the last round of GG1s, I remember Dave taking a very long look at these. This was actually the first Vision project that Dave had a chance to work on. He just come to the company a few years or maybe even months before this one came into the picture. And so we did a pretty deep dive on these afterwards to find out, how we could make it better the next go round. And the gearing was looked at pretty heavily as the final culprit, more so than code or motor capacity. And what we found was that while the gearboxes have been made back drivable, which is the legacy standard, you've basically got two locomotives back to back. So one set of gears is always going backwards. So they had to be back drivable in both directions, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so redesigning the pitch of the gears seems to have solved a lot of those problems for this go round.
That's good to hear, because obviously I'd imagine these will be very popular, and obviously that was an issue with the prior run, and I guess has deterred some people I know from purchasing the old runs. But if obviously if these are going to be improved, that's great to hear. Yeah, that was just something I was curious about, as I'd actually seen a couple come through my shop, and I ended up just kind of just making them work as they were. They were never like catastrophic in the way they would not work. You know, it was just kind of one of those issues. Sometimes you might start on a grade or something, or like you said, going downgrade, and there'd be some kind of binding or something, and then it would solve.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta jump in here and say the pasture cars that you guys have selected are fantastic. All these sets are very eye catching. Really happy to see the Shadowline cars come back for the Pensy set there, but especially the American Railroad set for the Golden Spikes and Centennial Limited. Sid and I have owned that set, pasture set from MTH in past, and we both owned the Burks. I owned the Legacy 759 American Railroad Burke, and he had the MTH.
Mm-hmm.
But finding those cars is literally impossible. So the fact you guys have done them accurately and in 21-inch form is fantastic. The GG1 looks great. The cars look fantastic. The fact you guys even have the barcodes on the side of the B60s, just like the prototype, it's a great touch. So I have to commend that. That's just fantastic work there.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, they're talking about the American Railroad. I thought about buying different makes of cars and making my own, but to see this is just fantastic. When I saw this, I'm like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, this is a set I've wanted to do for a couple of years, and it felt like a good time to bring it into the mix. As you mentioned, we did get the B60s. We've got the tooling in here that is more accurate to these cars than versions that have been done in the past. A few of the cars came from, had Pennsylvania heritages to them. The baggage cars, the observation car, the twin unit diner. So the tooling for those is spot on. And then we used our UP ACF coaches and dome car, which is really close as well for a lot of the cars that we have in the rest of the line. The real train had a few more cars in it than this, but this will put together a pretty healthy and respectable consist for anybody who's running it behind this or the 759. And I think, if I remember correctly, 844 pulled it for the last little leg in Utah. So there's another engine that you could put in there with it as well.
Yeah, that's a really fun set. Literally everything pulled that train. So no shortage of motive power for sure.
And then the GG1 definitely did not get repainted after that one trip, so it lingered in that for a while. So you could run that with whatever hodgepodge of Penn Central equipment you wanted to string behind it and be perfectly right.
Yeah, those concepts behind that GG1 post excursion are quite interesting. I know there's like a mail train of some sort, I think, or some sort of head-end equipment train that I've seen it pulling in past. So yeah, it'll be really cool to see what people come up with.
It's also, I know someone's going to bring it up, so I might as well bring it up. It's also very cool to see that you're paying homage to Lionel heritage with all the post-war inspired stuff, because the GG1 was an iconic post-war model. So you have the GG1 with the Irvington cars, and then I think you have some aluminum cars in a GG1. That's just really cool to see, and it kind of, I guess, might give us a little taste of what we could see maybe next year.
Yeah, got the anniversary coming up.
We are on the verge of a big 125-year anniversary, and this catalog, the GG1s, sort of ease our way into that. We've got so much good stuff to draw from over 125 years that honestly packing it into one or two catalogs just wasn't really going to happen. So I let it spill out a little bit early here on the precursor. As you said, the GG1 is sort of one of those locomotives that, if not top three, certainly top 5 or 6 of the great line of Lionel icons. And so it was fun to do a couple of versions based on those earlier Lionel models. We've got the 2332 in the set with some add-on cars there as well. And then the red version for folks, that one, the locomotive is available exclusively through the LCCA, so you want to call them to order that. But the aluminum passenger cars will be available through all channels for sale. So, because honestly, what can't you put a Lionel Lines aluminum passenger car train behind and have it look awesome?
Exactly. I love that you guys, this is such a small thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sid.
No, I was just saying that like those cars will, so many people will just buy those cars because they're a modern equivalent to the old cars.
Mm-hmm. The poster set, when I saw that, go ahead, John. Sorry.
Oh, I was literally just going to say on the same topic of the poster set. I love that you even angled the set like the original catalog illustration. That's such a nerdy thing to like see, but like that's so cool that you guys did that. I love that.
Yeah, we had some fun staging things for the catalog, and tried to stay somewhat true to the original 1947 set for this. Obviously, everything's scaled up a little bit, and it's full featured. And then with the add-on cars, you've got again the Vision baggage car, the Station Sounds Diner, and then the observation car. If you just want to flesh that train out a little bit more and make it a little bit more impressive on the layout, or you can keep it more true to the 3-car original.
Yeah, it's a really cool set. When I saw this and saw the American Railroad, I kind of told Johnny, I'm like, this set's so cool. I love them both. Very nice. So very cool, cool set. There was a question on the Discord about the congressional and the senator, the difference between them, and I had a separate question about the aluminum cars.
Sure. So the congressional and the senator in real life were pretty much sister passenger trains. When they zip by you at, track speed on the corridor, you'd be really, really, really hard pressed to tell them apart, unless you were really good with passenger car names. There were a few different accommodations in some of the lounge cars and how they were configured, but from the outside, they were essentially identical. Of course, all the coaches in the trains were identical. And a lot of those cars could get swapped back and forth as needed. So on the model, the only things that will be distinctive will be the names on the sides of the cars, which, again, you can kind of swap back and forth. Of course, the drumhead on the observation car will be either the senator or the congressional. And then for the Station Sound Dining cars, they'll announce the 2 different trains, right? So the car that you see pictured on the train, on the page with the senator cars, will announce the senator. And likewise for the congressional, that dining car announces the congressional in its Station Sound announcements. So other than that, you can mix and match to your heart's content. If you want to stretch the consist of one and get both of the 2 packs of coaches, you can do that. Likewise, the heavyweight simulated Shadowline cars, those were used as needed on either of the trains, so you could get those and add them in there and stretch the consist further too if you'd like, regardless of whether they weren't just used on the Congo and never used on the center. They were put in whenever and wherever needed on those trains.
Okay, so here's a stupid question: what are the Shadowline cars? I've never heard of that.
So the Pennsylvania had enough equipment to run these 2 trains, premier trains, on a regular basis, assuming traffic levels stayed relatively consistent and nothing broke. But as they would find out occasionally, if they had higher than expected ticket sales, or they had more equipment that was in the shop than they would have preferred, rather than sticking a Tuscan red car in the middle of the train, which would stick out like a sore thumb, they took 4 heavyweight cars, old Pullman cars, and reconfigured them as coach and lounge cars, and painted them in a simulated stainless steel color, and used a shadow line paint effect to make them look like the sides of the cars were corrugated. And then they would tuck those into the consist as needed, so that they blended in with the rest of the train a little bit more.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
And we've done that shadow line effect a few times in the past on some equipment. Other railroads did it as well. The Santa Fe had a few cars like that off the top of my head, and there were others. And so we've tried it. The paint effect works just as well on the model as it does in real life. It really does give you that corrugated look, even though it's a perfectly flat side. And so we thought, yeah, let's add those in here. It was an easy enough add into the set, and makes it fun.
Yeah, I can attest. I have the Chessie Greenbrier from a few years ago, and you guys did that on the tender of it.
Yes, we did. Yes.
And I remember when I first got it, I was like, I couldn't tell just at a glance, is this real or obviously it's just paint, but it does look really good, and it does a good job of giving that ribbing effect.
I have the Santa Fe Shadowline 2-pack, and I love it, so I'll probably be grabbing that Pennsylvania one. But I had a question on the cars, specifically about the tooling. I know that you guys have ran the Congressional and the Senator in the past. Are these the same tooling as those cars, or different?
It's the same tooling as those cars. Yep, the extruded aluminum body, and then the same punch tooling for the window configurations and the blend-in observation car.
Sweet. Awesome.
I gotta say, real quick, just I do have a question here, one of my personal ones for these 18-inch cars, and also, again, thank you guys for bringing back the 18-inch cars for someone like me who doesn't do 21-inch cars. This was so great to see in the catalog, and I'm sure other people who love these cars can echo this sentiment. You guys have done so much when you started doing, the smooth sides of the Hiawatha last time, and now we've got the ribbed cars back too. This is really, really nice to see because these are great toolings. So, first of all, thank you just for bringing those back. My one question for him was the cup. Since you guys have worked with the 21-inch cars now, are you guys planning on doing some sort of like semi-kinematic coupler on these? Because I remember in the old ones they did kind of have a bit long of a coupler on the end. Or some kind of close coupling on these new ones. If not, it's completely fine. They're still, amazing cars. But was there something in the works for that with this new run, or no?
Actually, yes, there is. Looking at the samples that have come into the Hiawatha cars a week or two ago, and we've got a little bit of a kinematic design in there. They look and work pretty well.
Oh, you just secured yourself a couple of orders there from me. That's fantastic to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, I have one last question on these passenger cars. So, I have some of the old sets, and this doesn't bug me, but I know some people are, I don't know, kind of don't like this. Are the windows going to be inserted from the outside in or from the inside out, if that makes sense? Because the old cars from the kind of the early 2000s, they obviously they're individual window pieces of plastic that are inserted from the outside in, and they kind of extrude from the car. It doesn't really bug me, but I know some people have wanted it to be on the inside. I didn't know if that was going to be a change or if either way, for me personally, I don't mind, but I saw some people asking about that.
They will still be the same way they were before, with the windows on the outside. And that has to do with the way the cars are assembled.
Yeah.
You have to slide the interior in through the ends. And so having the windows on the inside makes it impossible to put the car together.
Yeah,
or
that makes
take
sense.
it apart.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, it was always one of my things that I didn't really like about the passenger cars either myself. But yeah, there's just no easy way to change that without some very significant changes in how we would do things.
Looking to expand your collection? Check out Trainz.com. Trainz is your go-to place for new and used model railroad products. They have everything ranging from engines, rolling stock, parts, track, and scenery. If you need it, they probably have it. With new discounts being added daily, you'll be sure to find something you like. Plus, Trainz offers a newsletter which keeps you up to date on new items, discounts, and upcoming promotions. We've been using Trainz for years, and we highly recommend their stellar service. What's really cool is you can also collect points by buying Trainz and using them on future purchases. With their awesome rewards program, you can earn points on every purchase that you can use for future discounts. Dedicated modelers can also join their private car membership to get exclusive access to new listings, earn 5 points per dollar spent, and unlock great benefits like no questions asked returns. Trainz not only sells trains, but also buys them too. If you got a large collection or are interested in downsizing and making some cash, you can head on over to sellmytrains.com. It doesn't get easier than that. You can find them using our affiliate link, www.trainz.com/MMOP, or if you want to use our one-time promo code MMOP, you can get $10 off a single purchase on the Trainz.com website. So check out Trainz.com and start expanding your collection today.
Yeah, no.
It's just
I
super
totally
detailing. It's extra texture.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that because obviously the 21-inch cars, I assume they're inserted from the inside because they're going to flush.
Yes.
But no, that makes total sense that it's an assembly process related thing.
I'm really excited about these. I'm having a hard time deciding which ones to get. So that's going to be a tough process to narrow it down. Um, but the GG one's always been one of my favorite Vision Line engines, and so really happy to see it back. And I'm also excited just for a secondary reason, which is that with the 125th anniversary coming up, I was like, well, they'll either do the GG1 or the 700E. That would make sense. So now we've got the GG1. And I'm like, okay, I'm holding out hope that maybe the 700E will come back in 2025. Got my fingers crossed, so we'll see. But really excited about that.
Oh, one catalog at a time, guys. One.
Never.
I'm getting ahead of myself there, but when I saw it, I was really happy because I was like, well, now there's still hope.
I was just running my 763, the 5331 yesterday. Maybe I was psyching myself up. I don't know.
Wait, Eric, I thought there was a myth or something that if you talk about something, then it appears in the catalog. Didn't we talk about that last time?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, now it's
That'd
going
be
to
cool,
happen. It has to.
Yeah, I think I might go with some alternative road names on this one, though. I think I might get rather than do it because I did the Pensy last time, so I did Pensy and Amtrak last time, so I think I might do like Penn Central and Conrail or something this time around. We'll see.
Get the American Railroad set.
Well, that too. It's like, geez, this is so hard. I got to narrow this down to something reasonable
or options,
semi-reasonable.
That's really good. One quick thing, just also one last thing. If anybody has anything else on the GG ones, can we talk about how good the renders of these are? Oh my gosh, are they pretty? Like, you guys really did a good job on those GG1 renders.
They are really good.
Thank you. Well, that was a team effort. On part of our creative team, of course, who just does a great job of taking things that don't exist and making them look good enough to want to buy. And then also having the designs up front, Dave was able to use the actual 3D CAD files on these to get the renditions done. So where there are some different detail variations and things like that, those are captured in the model.
Yeah, those vents
in the virtual.
They look good. All right, and to keep moving along here, did anyone else have anything on the GG1s, or should we move ahead?
I think we're good. I think these are sort of related to the GG1s because they have some heritage with Pensy as the B60 baggage cars, both normal and Vision.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to have some B60s if you're modeling the Pensy or really anywhere. These things traveled all over the country as head-end cars. I was just looking at some Union Pacific shots out in Wyoming the other day, and sure enough, there's a B60 sitting in the yard. Great cars, beautiful models. New numbers for some of the paint schemes we've done before, like obviously the main different Pensy paint variations, and tried to come up with a couple different variations on the Penn Central cars that we hadn't done in the past, including the Maintenance Away Yellow, which is pretty cool. You've got different door and roof configurations on these as well to get them right to the prototype. And then for the first time, we're adding in the Vision electronics into these cars as well. So these will give you the loading and unloading sequences and the rail sounds as you're rolling along. Really a lot of fun. And like I said, you can put them on any train you want because these things traveled all over the place.
I think it was the last catalog show when you mentioned the idea of some new electronics for your freight cars and station sounds cars. Mm-hmm. Will these have those, or will these just have the older electronics that we've already seen before?
These will have very similar features to what you've seen before. We've still got some development in process on next rounds. Some of the smaller boards are done, but there's still some things that we are working on tweaking as we move ahead. So stay
Very
tuned.
nice.
I think a catalog in the not too distant future is going to have some pretty cool things coming to show in it for sounds.
Exciting.
Ooh, that is
Cool.
super exciting.
The Vision line, those will be you can run those with the Legacy remote, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Cool. I got in a couple of the cabooses not too long ago, and those are really fun. So I'm assuming these are kind of the same thing.
Yes, same functions, just now finally in the Pensi N5 car body.
Sweet, awesome.
Alrighty, and then next up we have got probably one of my favorite toolings from you guys as far as modern stuff: the SD70 Ace and the SD70 M-2. These are always super popular.
We seem to find a lot of excuses to run these models. Yep, not a whole lot of new features on these to talk about, I suppose. We have upgraded the tooling. We actually upgraded it for the last round of these, but it wasn't featured in the catalog. To add the new isolated, well, not the new, but to add the correct isolated cab tooling onto the NS Heritage units, so that they'll have the right lines on the nose and the cab. So that'll be included here on these as well, along with the rooftop details for the PTC antenna. Also new this time around, of course, it's in the Vision GG1s, but I think it's worth noting that now we're getting into the rest of the legacy locomotives. Starting in this catalog, all of the locomotives will have the 4-digit addressing feature when you're using the cab 3 and the base 3 to run your trains. So for folks like Eric who buy everything that's in the catalog and are running out of number slots, or for people who, like me, just can't remember which of the 2 digits on the side of the cab they used for the road number, this is a nice advantage that you'll have going forward with all of the legacy product.
That's great to hear.
I noticed that, I don't know, have you ever done super base units for the SD70s? Because in past of those, the ES44s and various other modern diesels have the super base option, but I don't notice them in this catalog. Is there I guess, if you have done them in the past, is there a reason why they're not here? Or if you haven't done them, it makes sense.
I can't remember if we've done them in the past or not, to be honest with you. I'm pretty sure that we have. Mm-hmm. The reason we didn't put them in here, with the Norfolk Southern units, I went with a powered or just a non-powered option.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people with the Heritage engines who just like to have the paint schemes, but there are so many Heritage engines out there that you don't always, you don't need all of them to be powered.
Yeah.
So if you're just looking to fill up your wall, or you have a personal favorite that's going to sit on your desk, then the non-powered, to make it as inexpensive as we can for you, is the way to go. And then with the others, the number of units out there on the road in the Ferromex scheme or this Suzy Q paint scheme are so small that it made sense just to give you 2 powered units in this go round. But certainly the super base program on modern diesels or locomotives in general is not going away anytime soon. It is a really fun way to beef up the sounds on your layout for sure.
I have a question on a paint scheme. Have you guys done a Savannah and Atlanta paint scheme before?
It would have been done in 2012 as part of the initial offering of Norfolk Southern Heritage units. I don't know that we've done it since then.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's nobody on this podcast interested in Georgia, related paint schemes.
No, nobody
I
at
can
all.
tell you assuredly they did do it before, because it's sitting on a shelf downstairs.
Did they? Okay, I don't remember, but
I can confirm that because I've seen it and maybe have tried to walk off with it. But I do have a question on these because we are getting the Savannah in Atlanta, but so I don't have to steal Eric's. When his came out, the min curve was 054, and now it says 036.
These should still be an 054 curve, I believe. You can probably get away with. You can probably cheat that a little on these. The ES44s are a little less tolerant than the SD70s, from what I recall. A lot of it really depends on what you have coupled behind it. By themselves, these should do an 036 without any difficulty. If you put something really good and heavy behind it, you might get away with it. or if it has the articulated couplers on it and some heavyweight, you might be okay. If you're putting like 64 boxcars behind it, yeah, that's not going to work on an 036 curve for sure. A lot of it just depends on what you have behind there, because it's the coupler swing more than the turning radius of the trucks themselves in this case that gives you the issues. These are also really big engines to try and put on an 036 curve and have them look halfway decent. But I would say probably if you looked like an 048 or something like that, you probably wouldn't see too many issues.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can speak from personal experience. I had these, a couple of these, and they ran fine in 036. Like you said, Ryan, it really depends on, all you need is a really good buffer car there as the second car, and you can get away with it.
Yeah, they're pretty nice. I got a couple of them. They're really cool. Got a couple questions from the Discord on this one. The first is, will the Furamax have a Spanish cab chatter?
I saw that question come through. It hasn't been fully decided yet, so I'm not going to say for sure that it will. But it's something that we have talked about maybe putting in there and seeing if we can make that happen. It would probably be one on the not where all the crew talk is in Spanish, but on the 7 key. Putting something on there might be a fun way to do it.
Cool. And then let's see here. What else do we have? Asking about recording the K5 LLA horn, and if there are plans to upgrade this to K-Matic pilots.
No plans on changing the pilots just yet right now. As far as the horn recordings, I know we saw some questions like on SD45s and about engine recordings and things like that as well. We're planning a few trips over the next year to go out and get some more sound recordings. If I can get a good recording with Tracy of these different horns, then definitely we will do so and add it in. But I won't promise any new sounds on these without them in the bag right now.
Cool. As a quick aside, I believe it was the Union Pacific ST70, then the Amtrak F40. The horn on that is so good. They're not in this catalog, but those are so good. That file, fantastic stuff.
That's actually
any new sounds are always good. Oh, I'm sorry. Say, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it's actually just the perfect time to bring up something that you mentioned last episode, is people providing feedback and also input to the company for models, because obviously providing feedback via your guys' email or some kind of some form of feedback, you mentioned the support email last time, helps with models after the fact, but in theory, if a model is still in, like, before full production goes, you could send in ideas for sounds and maybe details and things like that could get changed in time for them to be on the final product, correct?
Yes, very much correct. I think probably a good third of the emails I get for the first 2 weeks after a catalog comes out are from people saying, this really should be like this, or have you seen this? And that's very helpful, especially when you can, provide also some photographs or links or places to help correct things that you see that might be off. Doesn't mean that we can always correct what's wrong.
Yeah.
But if there's something that we can correct that doesn't require major changes to the tooling or deco that just can't be reduced to miniature, or sounds that we just don't have access to, or IP we don't have the rights to, then definitely we try and make those changes when we can. And the closer to a release date that you can get us that information or flag those things for us, the easier that is. And it's one of the advantages of our build to order programming and sales method with the higher end equipment, is that we haven't already committed to a purchase order number on these, and so there is a little bit of time. We have about usually 4 or 5 weeks that the dealers have to collect those orders. They're also putting in their custom run orders right now, and that's keeping our creative team extra busy, of course. But if there are things that you notice in art that jumps out at you as not correct, feel free to drop us a line. The best way is through our normal customer service channel. talk to us at Lionel.com, or you can call in at 1-800-4-LIONEL. But if you're sending me pictures and things like that to look at, then email is usually the best way. Talk to us at Lionel.com is a direct link to the company, and they forward those on to all of the project team, not just myself, but Meg and Corey. We all get those for our respective projects and look into things, and we'll make the changes where and when we can.
That was an excellent time to bring that up. Thank you, Sid.
Yeah, that was just, I think that was probably one of the biggest takeaways for me from the last catalog episode was just the fact that, you know, it's not like you don't want the feedback. You want the feedback, and there is the option for it. And so it's a lot of people probably don't know that. And I think, I could be wrong, there was I think you guys posted on your social media somewhere maybe one of the deco samples for the new F-19 Pacifics. And I heard a whistle in there I hadn't heard in quite a while, and several people I know emailed you guys, and I don't know if that was just a sample having that or what. But if it does turn out that model has that, I guess that's probably a great example of people email, you take the feedback, and then it is, you know, produced in the final product. And no, it's a great thing, and I think people definitely should use it as much as they can. I assume that Matt or someone here will probably put the email and all that into the podcast notes or whatever. But no, I just thought I'd bring that up, since that's probably one of the best things we've learned talking with you guys on the podcast.
I will certainly put that link in the show notes. I do have one question before we move forward here. Just kind of an observation, and correct me if I'm wrong, are all legacy engines in this catalog now have the 4-digit addressing? Would that be correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, that's cool.
All righty. So that was an excellent bunch of info there. Yes, and also I think one more thing to add on to that point you made, Sid and Ryan, about the suggestions. If there is something from an older piece of equipment, it helps to have the product number handy. Isn't that right, Ryan?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Because we've made things, we've made a lot of things, and we've made them a lot of times, and so. We'll get things. Hey, can you use the whistle that you used the last time you made that you used in the Challenger? Sure. Which Challenger and when? And so that helps us. If we have a SKU number, it helps us go back through the records that we do have and try and find it. Sometimes file names are not always what you'd expect them to be. Sometimes they're named by the engine that they were recorded from. Sometimes they're named by the type of whistle that was on the locomotive. Sometimes they're named just by the date that the recording was made and a brief note. And so it's helpful if you know of a whistle that we've used in the past. There's a pretty good chance we still have the files. We just need to a little bit of guidance in how to best get to that whistle. So a SKU number is the best way to help us out there.
There you go, folks. Do a little help up front, do a little research, and then that will help them get you the changes you want to see. Be the change you want to see in the world, in the catalog. So speaking of new stuff here, we've got 2-truck sea liners. All sea liners have 2 trucks, John. Duh. 4-axle sea liners.
Yeah, this is the first hit with the 4-axle version of these. Since we acquired the MTH tooling, and we've hit a bunch of great road names and paint schemes here. These will all be available in 2A units, both powered, both the same except for the road number. And then if you want a B unit, those come as the super bass units, which have the super bass sounds and the smoke and legacy control. No motors on these, but they have the extra sound baffles and so forth inside for that great bassy sound. So you could do an ABA, or you can put them together in any combination you like. These tended to get mixed and matched a lot with other power on these railroads after a little while. So it wasn't uncommon to see these paired with other things. So not having to buy an AA set if you only want one unit is kind of a nice change of pace.
Yeah, it's really nice that you guys are offering these units as single units to mix and match because back when MPH on them, you kind of had to buy them as a set, at least of a 2 unit. So the fact that you can do this comboing is, people. Just quick aside, everybody's got opinions on what manufacturer does things really well, but I gotta say, I think you guys, in terms of die casting and everything, I think you guys pretty much offer the best when it comes to specificity and customizing for each different road name. I don't really think anybody else does it better than you guys in mass production of plastic and diecast. I think I'm pretty safe in saying that. What do you think, guys?
I'd agree.
Absolutely.
So, oh yeah,
for sure.
I had a question on these of my own. I know in the last catalog when you did the E units, you offered a separate fixed pilot. Are these going to have that or not quite yet?
I don't have that plan for these just yet, and a lot of that's because we're going to be moving these toolings around a bit, and so still getting a little more familiar with this tooling and how that might be workable. The PAs we will do that with, but the C liners right now are still not a fixed pilot ready, at least from the factory. Now, I think with a little bit of modeling skills, you could probably figure out how to do it. I don't think it'd be that difficult on these for somebody who is really adventurous. But we don't have plans to do that on these just yet.
Is the general idea that any like PA, FA, E unit, F unit kind of deal, like any of those diesels, is the idea that most of those at some point down the road will have the option for the fixed pilot?
It's something that we're definitely going to work towards. Yes.
That's very cool to hear.
Anytime we can improve upon the toolings is always good. And so apparently we've got some new stuff with these great new PAs we've got. Another one of these gorgeous suckers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some popular road names, some paint schemes that, again, we haven't done in a really long time, if we've ever done them. And so I like to do some different paint variations. The Santa Fe didn't have too many paint variations on these because they didn't need to. It just looks really nice in that war bonnet scheme, so we went with it and figured it was good for another round. They're always a big seller, so people are always happy to see that one back again. But I think this may be the first time we've done the dark green paint scheme for the New Haven on these, which actually has become one of my more favorite New Haven schemes. I think it's highly underrated compared to McGinnis and some of the other brighter paint schemes they've done.
That is a correct opinion, sir.
I love them. They're really nice. Orange Brooks at some point, maybe.
What was that?
Orange Brooks paint scheme at some point, maybe. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I was torn between those two paint schemes on this one for this round.
Nice.
I could, we could put New Haven PAs in every catalog for like 4 years and not hit all the paint schemes variations on them. So
they're beautiful.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Sweet. Awesome.
If they look as good as the sea liners you guys did last time, those will come out looking really nice. As a New Haven fan, thank you.
Yeah, those really popped.
This catalog. Oh yeah.
Yeah, those are pretty.
We had some questions. Got some questions.
Yeah, Johnny, this is your wheelhouse with SP and Texas and New Orleans. Go for it.
Well, SP is my wheelhouse. Texas, New Orleans is not my wheelhouse, but I will still ask. Some of our Texas community members have asked in the catalog. The SPAs are numbered for pulling the Texas, New Orleans, Alamo. Prototypically they should have 3-digit numbers to be TNO locomotives. Would that be something you guys would consider for these models, or are they going to retain their SP numbers?
That's something I can definitely look into. I saw that in the questions. Shoot me some more details on that, and we can make that work. Would it be better to change the train order numbers or change the road numbers?
Probably be nice for the folks from Texas to have the train number, the actual like road number, be edited.
Okay.
Since the last time I think you guys did TPAs was the Shasta Daylight, so giving them some love would probably be very much appreciated.
Alrighty.
Yeah, they were super excited in the Discord talking about those just the other night, and Texas and New Orleans people, they love that road. So getting some more obscure stuff is always good.
Yeah,
They're going buck nutty.
They're pretty cool. And then on the Santa Fe's and I guess the nickel plates too. While we're at it, is there any chance to do stainless plating on those, or are they just going to kind of be like a silver paint?
We'll do on the Santa Fe. We'll do the simulated stainless paint like we've done in the past. It's not plated, but it does give a more metallic look to it. And then the nickel plate, theirs were actually painted white in this paint scheme. So that's what we'll use there on the PAs. The passenger cars will be that same simulated stainless steel color, so that they'll tie in nicely with the 777 Burke from the last catalog. We had a ton of requests for matching passenger cars to go with that engine, so I figured this was a good opportunity to pair them with a PA and give people two options to pull them.
Sweet, cool.
I'm really excited about these because I already had the Nickel Plate Road PA set from years ago, the last time you guys did it, but I never had any passenger cars to go with it. So I'm really excited about adding these and running them together. That's going to be a lot of fun.
And it is worth noting on these PAs too that we're it pains me to do it, but we're cutting the nose up and putting that bell in the nose like they did in the later years here. So for nickel plate modelers who like that really unique detail, here's your shot.
What is that?
Oh, that's awesome.
A bell.
Yeah, in later years, and there's probably a reason for it. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not enough of a nickel platophile to know. Would love to be enlightened. But they moved the bell up into the nose, and they cut out a portion below the left front number board and stuck the bells in the nose on. Not every unit, but quite a number of them got this. And so we're modifying the front end tooling here to allow that detail to pop in there as well.
Oh, wow. I didn't even notice that. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's a very cool detail. I didn't expect any manufacturer to be able to model that. So kudos to you guys. Very impressive.
See, this is how Lionel gets you. They, you're like, okay, I've already got the Nickel Plate Road PA set from a few years back. I'm okay. And then they add some new detail and you're like, darn it. Well, now I got to get that one.
And these
it's a vicious cycle.
These nickel plate passenger cars are all aluminum?
No, these are the 21-inch plastic cars. Yeah, I think the features got mixed up on the spread here, but these are the 21-inch.
Yeah, it says aluminum body construction, so I was curious.
These will be plastic. Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. It does say they have figures inside of them. Is that correct?
That is also not correct. These will be plastic net figures. Mm-hmm.
All right, just want to confirm. That's good.
Good to know. Good. Happy to get those out there.
Yep.
And for all our listeners, guys, come on. This is your chance to own our logo. This is our engine right here. This is your chance to own the Miniature Models Podcast locomotive. So come on, there's a sale right there. Get on it, folks.
It sounds like we need a custom run.
Hey, we have our prototype one already. Maybe we should do an official one at some point.
That's right.
These are going to be super popular as always. The road diesels you guys have been doing, the E6s and now the PAs. This is really exciting. And we get the Halloween ones. Oh my gosh. Where are our experts?
Tons of buzz on these. Yeah. Of course, Meghan helped me out a lot here with these to make sure that these turned out nicely. And we've got the Halloween Express, the Midnight Flyer with our Doom cars. And then the PAs to go along with. And I've had a few people ask me questions if we would have more cars or more power coming along this lines down the road. And I said there's probably a pretty good chance you'll see a steam engine or some other diesels if the PA is not your favorite, or if you're looking to add more cars to different things. There's definitely will be some options down the road. But I think these will be make for a very cool passenger train with the purple LED lighting, the little spirit orbs silhouettes in the windows, and just some fun names on the car sides too. It's a little tongue in cheek, but it gets you to your final destination in style.
I was just going to ask, you answered my question I was going to ask, which was, are there figures in the passenger cars for this one? Because when we were at Trainapalooza this past weekend, there was a passenger set that had like ghosts and like vampires and stuff inside of it that I thought was super cool.
Whose train was that, Peachy? I can't
That was
remember.
Steve's train.
Okay. Did he do that himself? Was that a custom thing?
No, I think it came that way.
That was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
The nice thing about the 21-inch cars, as opposed to the aluminum cars, is you can open these up very easily. It's 4 screws, in the corners of the cars. The shell comes right off, and you can detail the interiors of these to your heart's content. Since we were going for more of like the ethereal theme on this, we populated it with the little ghostly orbs in the windows. As opposed to putting figures in, we thought that might be a little more appropriate. But you could certainly knock yourself out and put ghosts and goblins and demons and whatever you choose to inside these cars and have a lot of fun with it.
That's really cool. I had stayed away from the Halloween stuff, and then and now Lisa opened that door, so she got the triplex, and now she says she was thinking about getting the J3A. So so we've opened the can of worms on the Halloween stuff now.
You're welcome for that, by the way. But no, I think these passenger cars are going to be really cool. I like that they have like kind of the orb thingy in them, so that's awesome.
Well, speaking of the J3, it's probably a good time to bring Meghan in for a little bit and let her talk about her J3. You can't have a Halloween section and not get Meghan involved.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be criminal.
Yeah, I was chomping at the bit there to talk Halloween for a minute. Really excited to bring a Halloween theme to the Lion Master Hudson. And how could I not steal Ryan's really cool features that he's done on other items and make this one glow in the dark? So for the first time on a LC 2.0 locomotive, we have a glow in the dark Halloween locomotive.
Now, this was a point that was brought up this weekend as well. You need a black light to get it to glow, correct?
I believe that these can be activated by charging them up with a like a flashlight or an LED. It will hold better with a black light, but can be charged up with regular lights.
Oh, awesome.
I had a question about the J3A Hudson. Okay, so it's a Lion Chief, but it's Lion Chief. I mean, sorry, Lions. What is it?
It's a Lion Master locomotive.
It's Lion Master.
Meaning it kind of packs all the details that you would like on like a legacy locomotive, but packed into the smaller traditional size so that it has the ability to run tighter curves and on smaller layouts.
Yeah, I know some of the Lion Master stuff that's been really popular. So is this going to be more detailed than your average LC2 steam locomotive?
Correct.
Okay.
I will say this set is absolutely fantastic. All the clever little jokes are very much appreciated. I don't know if you guys have done this in the past or not. If not, maybe it's a potential punny name, but I was really expecting this one to be called the Screamliner, but maybe that can be reserved for a future train.
Oh my god, that's I love
that. There really isn't a shortage of puns for Halloween. There's so many great ideas. Especially, Ryan going with the Doomliner on all these cars and having a Vista Doom car. That's really fun. So I expect that there's going to be lots more to come.
Vista Doom is very clever. I like that a lot.
Meghan is great at her puns with her different things. I'm a huge fan of what she does. So
I wish I could take credit for all of that. I mean, some of them I've come up with. Some of them the creative team has come up with. Ryan's come up with some great ones. It's really fun to like collaborate with everyone on the team here. And I think we're always trying to like one up each other with the fun Halloween stuff, because it's so much fun to take like stuff from the real world and try and make it spooky. And I think we've been doing a really good job at coming up with some really fun stuff for the Halloween items.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. You guys are brilliant with it. It makes it very hard for my wallet, let me tell you.
I'm sorry and thank you.
I'm still laughing about Doom Liner. Oh my god. I love it. I love it. Now this is, and the fact that you guys are still coming up with like different schemes and everything for the Halloween too is a testament to how passionate you guys are about this stuff. It's such a, it works so well. You would think Halloween Trainz, but like it's so nice. It really does a good job.
I appreciate that. I think I joined the department back in like 2018, 2019. And one of the things we talked about was like, how do we expand and do different things? And obviously, everyone has their different passions. For me, it was Halloween. And the fact that it's grown as much as it had and that everyone's really resonating with it and that every category now has really touched it is really exciting for me. And I love that everyone is enjoying it.
Oh, yeah. I think, and everybody who was at Palooza can back me up, didn't we see a train of almost every car that had ever been made in traditional scale at the three railers?
Yeah, are you talking about like Saturday night?
Yeah, I think it was almost every single car.
Yeah, he had, that was Steve. He had the passenger set, and then he had all of the freight cars too. It was insane.
Yeah, it was a huge train. All pulled by one Line Chief 2.0 Burke. The thing was handling like what? It had to be at least 30 cars, 20, 30 cars.
At least, yeah. I do have a question on the tank. Do those frogs float in there, or are they like kind of stickers on the inside?
They are actually decoed in there.
Okay.
So what's really cool about that tank is that it is the first time that we're doing like a double walled on the 8K tank car. So it'll actually have like a liquid interior, and then the frog will be decaled inside of it.
That's really awesome. I think that one is really cool. That's on my list of must-haves.
Yeah, no, these are all absolutely fantastic. And then moving ahead, we have got some more great small switchers, because these things you can, again, like you can put an infinitesimal number of schemes on these. The SW1s.
Yeah, great to do some more roads on here. Some really fun paint schemes. Like to throw in a few of the normal classic all the time roads, but then mix in a few oddballs that we don't do every catalog in here as well. And SW1s are a great excuse for that because they ran on so many railroads, but also industrial lines and switching areas and private companies, and they're still going strong. So pick a paint scheme and you can find it on an SW1 somewhere.
I love that Cargill one. That's a great scheme. Anything industrial, like there's so many different industries you guys can do on these sorts of engines that are so, kind of bombastic. Like wow.
It's funny. I've heard everybody that I've talked to on this SW1 is talking about that Cargill. Everybody likes that one. I think that's going to be the most popular one, including me.
It's just a neat scheme. And also, thank you for choosing, I don't know if this was accidental or on purpose, but thank you for choosing specifically the Amtrak engine for the Washington, D.C. terminal. Like, I don't know who's the secret D.C. lover there, but y'all have been giving us some love lately. Thank you.
Not a problem. That one's actually interesting. Interesting little tidbit on that I found while I was doing some digging on it. Because they have a few SW1s. This was, I think, the only one so far in this paint scheme. But when it went down to Washington Terminal, it started off in Wilmington as the shop switcher there. And in Wilmington, it has a nice brass bell and a gold painted GG1 horn on the cab roof. And then when it went down to Washington, they took the the GG1 horn and the brass bell off and swapped it out for something a little bit more abscondable. So yeah, I thought that was kind of a neat thing. It was probably someone's pet horn and pet project in Wilmington, and then when he found out his baby was gone, his toys went home before they were lost. But I thought that was kind of cute. I've had a number of friends over the years who I've known who've worked in the Wilmington shop, so I found that one kind of funny.
That is great. And
so that means the model I have a GG1 horn, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's a good idea. And then we got the SD40-2s. Again, another, again, you could put it in like every single scheme. I think there was some interesting new customization on these tools. Don't we have some questions on this one there, Madzi?
Yeah, they're asking about all of them actually relate to the CNW one. Quickly, I just asking about the bell and if those detail parts will be available separately to customize the previous release.
That's a great question. I'm sure when I sit down with Aaron in the parts department to order parts, that's something we can look at as a custom thing that they can order to have on hand. But yeah, the bell is a new tooling modification for this, as is the low headlight option for the Suzy Q variation. I don't think we've done a low headlight before. So here and there where we can add some of these things, that gong bell on the Chicago Northwestern is such a distinctive piece that to not put it in there seemed kind of unfortunate to me. So we figured let's go ahead and do it. If we can put a bell in the nose of an Alco PA, we can do it on an SD40-2. And so we're gonna add that there. They only had the 2 units in the Falcon Service paint scheme like this, so that's why we chose the numbers we did and this paint scheme. But in the future, we'll probably go back and do some of the other options as well.
And on the same vein about talking about sounds, asking about the having a bell sound for that.
Yes, yeah, we will have a bell sound for that. I've got some video of those from when the Streamliners were in town a few years ago down here.
Sweet.
Yes, indeed. That is fantastic. And I think you kind of we also had some prime mover questions, but I think you guys already addressed that you would be doing some future work with that. So I think that handles that question there. But no, these look really good. You guys have been given a lot of good Midwestern love, it seems like, for some of the more modern diesels. And I think people are really appreciating that.
Want to support your favorite O-Scale podcast and rock some awesome merch? Well, now you can. We've teamed up with Redbubble.com and have come up with a great selection of gear that you can get right now. They have everything from shirts, hoodies, stickers, mugs, bags, you name it. Heck, you could even get a wall clock with us on it. All this great stuff and more at Redbubble.com. Links are down in the show notes, so grab yourself some gear and rock some awesome podcast merch.
Oh, good. We try and mix it up a little bit.
I did have to ask, what is that one next to the Susquehanna? Was it the MV?
The VMV?
Yeah, that one.
A Paducah built rebuild and one-off paint scheme, sort of like a demonstrator or a lease unit. So it doesn't matter where you model, you could put this one out there. It's a fun paint scheme and a one of a kind. And when I saw it, I said, well, that looks like something people would enjoy having on their layout. It's certainly attention getting. And so we threw that one in the catalog.
Cool. That's a neat one.
Yeah, it is a really cool color. Love it. And then Steam. And oh my God, what a great engine to start off with. And nobody we know here loves NNW.
No.
What's NNW? Any idea?
No idea.
These look fantastic. Selkirk fronts on a couple of them. I don't think that's ever been done before.
I love how we keep calling it that, even though it's probably not called that.
Hey, educate me. What's a Selkirk front?
Ryan's probably better than I am to educate people on that.
It's your tool?
That's a new name for me. I hadn't heard that term, but I think we're talking about the
kind of
the
flat
smaller smoke box door there.
Modified.
Yeah, it looks very similar to a New York Central style boiler front.
Mm-hmm. It was done due to the I'm going to botch what they had put inside there, but I was just looking again through the research on there today to make sure we were getting some of the things right on this. But it was done to the way the smoke box had to be arranged around. I want to say part of the superheater, but I know I'm wrong. I've got a book 10 feet behind me that would correct me. And so the initial run of these from 2170 to 2194 had this front for a while, and then starting about 1951, they rearranged things and started converting them over again. So there are some other details on here as well that would be changed with this front on them. So I want to look and see if there's other things we can do to help make the model a little bit closer to prototype. But it's a neat, just a neat little detail variation, and one thought, why not? Let's see if we can do it there and add something to the model.
It gives you more of an excuse to buy more of them, folks.
Yeah, something I was wanting to ask is, remember last episode I talked about the idea of what it takes to get something made. Like, what does it take to get a detail part like that changed? Because people are always asking for very road specific things, and I'm just kind of curious on like what you have to go through in order for something like even this, which is a detachable part, to be changed, let alone something that's built into the shell.
The short answer to that is that it all depends on the detail part and the model. It can vary greatly. In this case, it's not too terrible because, as you mentioned, it's a detachable smoke box front. So it's its own little piece. It's less intensive than having to modify the entire die-cast boiler tool to change something. If we're making other changes in the process, it also helps because you sort of get an economy of scale thing going on. So it can vary. A lost wax detail part, some of them are only a few $100s. When you start getting into die-cast tooling changes, then the numbers start turning into 4-digit numbers and going up, up pretty quickly. But it all depends. There's no single set rate. Sometimes you think something's going to be pretty inexpensive and it turns out to be quite an ordeal just because of the way the project's been tooled. And sometimes you think it's going to be a no way we could do this, and the factory comes back and says, sure, we can do it for $600. And you go, well, all right, why didn't we do that 10 years ago? It all depends. There's always surprises, but we do it where we can. And if it's an opportunity to do something that hasn't been done before, an opportunity where we think it will make a significant difference in sales to people, then it's something that we definitely look into putting the effort into doing. There are some things that are just looking at the economies of it, what it would cost to do versus the payoff in the model isn't always there. The same types of things the same decisions we all make on a more personal note when we do our own model railroads, right? There's things that we spend a lot of time on and try and get just right. And then there's times when you go, I could spend another 6 hours on this to make sure that every rock in this cut is just like the one on the prototype, or I could crinkle up some tinfoil, press it into the plaster, and no one will know the difference. So that's probably a really bad example to use in the line of work I'm doing, but I think you get the idea from a cost benefit analysis.
Yeah.
A better example might be, looking at things like drive wheel spacing and diameter. Obviously, we try and stay as true to prototype as we can, but if you wanted to be a real stickler for that, these trains would never stay on the average O-scale person's track or go around a curve, right? So you make some compromises here and there where you have to for the model to be functional and be what people want it to be, versus 100% down to the centimeter scale reproduction of the prototype.
I really like all of these, but unfortunately, I'm not going to order one of the single units. I'm holding out for what's later in the catalog.
Likewise.
And I think we all know what I'm talking about.
Oh yes. Yeah, this is great to see this engine coming back. And then I think we've got what might be the most talked about steam engine, or one of them out of these two in the catalog, the Mountains, the return of the USRA Mountain. And my God, what a great bunch of offerings with tons of road-specific stuff. We got Vandy tenders, we got different headlight positions, paint schemes. I am obsessed with the fact that you guys are doing an R1A and R1B for New Haven. Thank you so much. I will it was hard not to order both of those. Yeah, no, let's hear about the mountains a little bit.
Great engine, one that we don't do fairly often and has struggled a bit, but in some of the past issues, but just so many great road name options on here. These are not necessarily all exact USRA prototypes, but where we can, again, coming off that last conversation, where we can make a few simple modifications to get us a little bit closer where we have the tooling. Yeah, why not? Let's try and capture some of these different railroads and some great paint schemes in here as well. So I hope these are as popular on the with the dealers and so forth as they are in the comment section for sure.
Yeah, these are really nice. The biggest question that I have on these is the New Haven one. Will have a coal or an oil tender?
I think we have these called out as coal. But again, if I need to do an oil or something like that, let me know.
Nope, coal is correct.
Good.
And then on the ones that have number boards, specifically the Santa Fe and the Alaska, will they light up?
If I can make them light up, we will. It depends on, because there's a smoke unit right underneath there. So I'll have to double check. I don't want to promise on either of those on the spot.
Okay, cool. And then the ones with the brass tender, which tender is that? Is that the Mikado tender?
Yes, that's the tender off of the Mikado.
Cool.
Not exact for the two mountains, but pretty reasonably close, and certainly closer than the coal-fired tender would have been. So it definitely will have that look in the right and the 6-axle trucks and so forth.
I'm really excited about these. That Texas and Pacific looks really cool. I don't know how true it is to the prototype or whatever, but I think it looks awesome.
There was a locomotive painted like that, a mountain painted in that paint scheme. I've got a guy I'm working with right now to help me make sure we get the colors dialed in right. And we've gone back and forth on a few of the points. There aren't a ton of color photos of it. There's a few good drawings of it. And there's some things that we've debated over, like the color of the number plate on the headlight and things like that. Was it black? Was it red? Certain things in some photos look blue, and then you look at the next photo and you swear they're black. Fun stuff like that. But I think we've got it pretty well dialed in here, and it is definitely based on a prototypical steam locomotive. That number and all of that.
I think that looks really cool, and I'm excited about that southern one. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm also excited about that southern one. Hoping Eric gets it so I can run it on his layout.
Now I need you guys to get the green right, because that's important on southern. Getting the shade of green, the right color.
Oh yes, that is very important.
But how does that work? Like, just as a side question, like, how do you guys, like when it comes to doing like colors on locomotive and making sure you've got the right color, like, does the factory send you samples, or do you just give them a Pantone color or whatever and say just do that one, or what kind of vetting process is there to make sure the colors are right?
So the way the process works, we start by trying to match from whatever source that we can to get a good paint code match to it. Usually with a Pantone chip is our preferred way of our preferred color matching system to use as a standard. If we can get to a prototype and take Pantone chips and hold them up next to the real thing, we've definitely done that in the past. Ironically, those are usually some of the most contentious ones I hear about, that we were nowhere close on the color. But if we failing that, we will look at color drift cards, photographs, whatever we can find out there that gets us to it. Always happy for help on colors. Again, here's one of those areas where suggestions are great. Suggestions that have some sort of sample with them to back them up are 10 times better. Once we get something that we think is right, we put that in the art for the factory. They will then produce a color chip and send color chips over to us for everything. At the very least, we'll get that chip on a piece of plastic or metal. Sometimes they will put it on a chunk of the actual body of the model, which can be very helpful. The look of a color on a flat piece of plastic compared to a round boiler can vary greatly. Even on a flat piece of plastic, holding it horizontally, holding it vertically, putting it in different lights, you can get several different shades of green out of the same green. It just depends on how you're looking at it. Right. So we'll get those samples and we'll compare them again to our records or our samples that we have and chips that we have in the office, and try and improve them against that constant. And then that's what the factory should produce on the model when we see the final production.
Very cool.
Once we have a color that we think is pretty good and locked in, we have a ledger that we keep of what those approved colors are. In some cases, there is no Pantone color that matches. There is no red in the Pantone book that matches a Santa Fe red. So we have Lionel Santa Fe red as a color that we use, and we have factory chips that we've made up for that color and simply keep them here. And the factories have a matching chip, so we can keep those straight. But where possible, we try and find something that's a standard color to at least as a starting point.
I thought that was kind of cool when we did from doing the custom runs. I've learned that Lionel has their own standard cut. Like there's Lionel standard silver, and there's all these just Lionel standard colors that you can that they use that are not any particular color name. They're just called Lionel standard silver, Lionel standard black, whatever. It's kind of cool.
And then I had just one more question from the Discord on the separate sale mountains. Was asking about the Texas and Pacific will have a smaller boiler door diameter like the previous New Haven, Seaboard, and St. Louis ones, or is that just a printing error?
That's probably a print error on the art on these. Unlike the GG ones and some of the others, I don't have the final design files. That Dave wasn't able to render this straight from the design, so we had to do a little bit of photoshopping and tweaking. So some things may be slightly out of whack on the mountains.
Gotcha.
I don't think we have two different smoke box fronts tooled up for these.
Okay.
I just gotta say before we move on here, I was talking about Midwestern love for the diesels. The Southern love, not just Southern Railway, but just the amount of slightly more obscure. I mean, I know I've got several friends who do Seaboard. The fact we're seeing some Nashville, Chattanooga, and St. Louis TNP again, and Tennessee Central. I mean, this is great that you guys are giving some more southeastern and mid southern love, because these are some really really good offerings.
Yeah, I know Peachy's happy about that.
Oh yeah.
I'm definitely not complaining, but again, my wallet might be.
I think they were thinking about Peachy on some of these things that we're going to come to eventually, but that's just my theory.
Yeah, those are fantastic. And then Engine, I'm super happy to see back the heavy mic. I think is this only the second run you guys have done of this tooling, or is this the third?
This is the third. We did two pretty quickly back to back when we first tooled this up back about 2014-ish. I think 2014 catalog was the first time this one showed up. And we did it in 2014, and then I think maybe again in 2015, something like that. But it's been out of the catalog for a little while. We went real hot and heavy on mics for a few years, and then backed off of them for a bit. So yeah, this is the second time around. I think Great Northern was a road name we did once before, and a paint scheme we did once before. Some of these other ones we've done the road names, but before I tried to do a little bit of a paint variation on them. And then I'm pretty sure this is the first time we've done the Sioux Line or the EJ&E on these heavy mics. These also will have a revised gearbox in these as well. It's one of the things that Dave has been working on. We had to make some modifications to the chassis, but we're redoing the gearbox in these locomotives also.
Oh, there we go. That was a big question we had, was the gearbox. So
yeah.
That's great to hear. Yeah, people lost their minds over that 1003, the Sioux line. Oh my gosh, that got such a reaction.
As a Midwesterner, I think it's on the same level of as excitement as people had for when 1630 was announced. So a lot of people are hoping for a very similar level of attention to detail type of model as the Russian decapods in terms of accuracy. So very curious to see how those turn out.
So you can see there we've got some plans in place for the details to move the headlight, move the bell and the dynamo. And then I know there were questions on the sounds. I had some people reach out to us directly too to see if it would be possible to get actual sound recordings. If someone has some contacts up there that can help make that possible, and I can get Tracy up to Minnesota, we might be able to make that happen. But until I have the sounds in the bag, I won't promise that we'll get that. If we can't get out there and record the actual one, we will. At least in the case like this, we do know there are lots of recordings of this, lots of videos of the locomotive. So we'll look and see what we have in our current files that we can tune a little bit and try and get as close as possible on some of the whistles for this engine.
Awesome.
One of the questions asking about flying number boards and the color of the number plate.
Flying number boards and the color of the number plate.
Yeah, they're asking about adding flying number boards to the headlight and the color of the number plate on the headlight. Will it be a dark gold? That's what they're asking.
If it should be a dark gold, again, these are great things. Shoot me some photos, shoot me some notes. The headlight may end up being a new brass casting one way or the other, so might as well make it right. And then likewise on the number board, if it's supposed to be a gold or white or whatnot, let me know. I do the best I can, but I certainly can miss stuff, and we can know a lot about a lot of things, but knowing everything about everything is a tall task. So we'll try, and if you send me photos what you want it to look like on that headlight, and we'll see what we can do.
Appreciate it. And just a personal one for me on the Pittsburgh and Lake Erie. Did they ever have those that were green boiler, or were they all black?
As far as I know, they were all black.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, green boiler. That's more. Even though you get the A2, I think that's more of a B&A thing. But yeah, those are excellent looking. Again, lots of cool variations to roads. You got the EJ&E, but I think it's like the World War I era with the U.S. government stampings on that. That's all really, really neat for diversity.
Yeah, they got a handful of those as part of the allocation, and they didn't keep them very long. I have not seen too many photos, so I don't think they ever wore any sort of other full EJ&E paint. If they did, I haven't seen a photograph of it. So this seems the most likely historically accurate paint scheme for the EJ&E on the USRA mics.
That's good to see that era getting some love. And then we've got, we got the fantastic 060. I have one of these personally. It is one of my best engines. It's with Sid right now. I'm sure he can attest he enjoys it quite well. These are great engines.
Yeah, fun little engine. Loads of detail on this little thing too. So really, really neat locomotive. And every railroad needs a couple of good yard goats. So
I know which one Peachy's getting.
It's a mystery. I'm very excited for the Atlantic coastline. And I was discussing this, and I think I know the answer to this, but this does not have whistle steam just because of the size of the engine?
Correct.
Okay.
And it's got a tether too, right?
Yes, it has the tether. We will be upgrading this to a locking tether this go around, like we put on the Russians.
It's gonna be the locking one.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I really like that locking one on the Russians. That really stays in place well.
Yeah, and then these will have the drop plate too, which I don't think shows up in the catalog art.
Oh, I didn't know.
That's cool. Yeah, so we have got that in there, and then the tether. The tether is twofold. One, we've had to put some of the electronics in the tender because the thing is just so small, and two, it's an 060, right? You're using this in yards with switches and switch frogs. You want as much pickup as you can get. And so having the tethered pickup on the tender, like we do with all of our switch engines, it just helps with performance overall versus trying to do it through the IR.
Yeah, exactly. I think on these small ones, that tether makes a world of difference, and I'm okay with that. And I like how you guys always, if it's too small for the whistle steam, you at least throw in the swinging bell, so there's something cool there. And swinging bell is one of my all-time favorite features anyway, so I'm always okay with that. So
yeah, I'm super excited. It's gonna be my first engine with a swinging bell, so.
Swinging bell is probably, I'm with you, Eric. Like, that's probably my favorite feature. If you were to tell me, like, give me a choice of whether I wanted whistle steam or swinging bell would win like every time.
yeah, I just
really,
think
really cool
it's so cool, and it's so cool. The most enjoyable part of it is when people who are not in the hobby, when they come to see the layout and they see the bell swinging, they're like, how does it do that? A little bell swinging.
That always gets a ton of attention. Whenever I've run mine, everybody's like, "Oh my god, the bell, it's moving." And also just with the tether, it looks good too. I mean, it looks somewhat realistic. It looks like airlines or something. So, no, those are excellent models. We got the sets, two amazing sets, kind of following the trajectory you guys have been doing lately with offering a huge, talking point set and then a really good road specific set with some good detail features. So let's hear about the sets. Looking for something different? Need a gift for a fellow rail fan? Well, folks, look no further. NPL Customs is your source for all railroading decor. Handcrafted, made in the USA, and veteran owned. Their products made for rail fans by rail fans. I personally have a set of coasters from them that I absolutely love. Find them on Etsy at NPL Customs and use code MMPodcast at checkout to save 10%. NPL Customs, quality since 2017.
Yeah, like you said, the last few catalogs we've done these big sets, and people love them. The sales have been better than we expected them to be. As big sets go, the one in this catalog certainly is long, but this one's not quite as loaded with vision level cars and so forth. So it's a little bit more of an economical big set, I guess, if you could say that, when you're throwing a big articulated steam engine and 13 cars in there. But we've got the Y6B, 12 of the 3B hoppers, and these will have the new plastic coal loads installed in those. And then the caboose there for the end, the 2-window caboose. Not a perfect NNW prototype caboose, but for the tooling dollars that one would take, reasonably close past the squint test caboose from these. Best I could do for this set, at least. Certainly wanted to offer a big coal train. There then will be 7 more separate sail hoppers further back in the catalog if 12 just isn't enough. And of course, we've done plenty of NNW hoppers over the years, us and every other O-scale manufacturer out there. So put 60 hopper cars behind your Y6B and go have fun. That's the way it should be. And then for the New Haven fans, again, we've got the Mountain, and then a nice colorful short freight consist to put behind there with the boxcar, the AC2. You got to do a state of Maine car if you're doing a New Haven set. It's it's like the law. And then the New Haven N5 caboose there. So really neat, colorful set. Again, nice start, and you can always add more to it to have a longer consist, or run it like this, just a nice, pretty train.
I was actually showing your not to keep hogging the New Haven love, but I'm going to keep doing it. I was actually showing your New Haven tooling to a few like hardcore New Haven guys who work on like real steam, and they were really impressed. They said that's a good engine.
And I got to say that NW King Cole set, from what I've heard, that is the real star of the catalog. I mean, Vision Line aside, that's the star of the catalog, just because it's a kick-ass big set, and then you've got, it's actually pretty good deal. If, for $1,000 extra, you get 12 hoppers and a caboose. So everybody's been talking about that set from what I've heard.
Yeah, the name alone is great. King Cole, like that's fantastic.
Now you guys got to do a really cool box for that set. You can't call it King Cole without doing a cool box.
Noted. We'll need to. We'll make sure we do something awesome on there.
Hey, Sid. Oh, he stepped away. No. I guess I'll never know.
My mouse wasn't working. What?
Sid, same with the King Cole set, you gotta buy this, and you gotta buy to go along with your 60 coal hoppers, you gotta buy 5 Y6Bs, right?
Yes, I have to buy every single one in the catalog.
Mm-hmm.
Each one.
That's it. Yes, sir.
No getting out of it.
2 pulling, 2 pushing, and 1 in the middle. Right? What a throwing sight that must have been.
Yep, I wonder.
You gotta have one running backwards at the rear too. Just very NNW-ish.
John, if you want to cover the questions for this, just the mountain set.
Yeah, sure thing. So for the Minuteman set, we've got some very specific. Why did you choose me to talk about these? Oh my god! No, it's super specific New Haven stuff. So the catalog image there is a Delta trailing truck, which is correct. Instead of the regular USRA, the more like the leaf spring one that you guys have used. Is that what you guys are actually going to put on that engine? Is that actually the correct render?
Yes, we will put the Delta trailing truck on that.
Sweet. Okay, and then the feed water heater, is that the same one that you guys used on the regular R1 mountain that was kind of flashy, had the stars on the cylinders, was a little bit brighter? Is that the same part you guys are using or a different one?
It's probably the same part we used for the rendition. Again, it's possible that we'll get something new cast for that, or it may be that same part, depending on what the factory can use to put on there.
Gotcha. Fantastic. There was a question about the air gap between it. Actually, where the feed water heater is sitting. I'm guessing that's probably a no, that you can't really sink it in because that is a die cast tooling. But am I wrong on that, or is that where it sits?
Well, again, it depends on the casting itself. If we have to make a new casting and I can make it that it's concave on the bottom so that it would fit down a little bit closer, then we can do that. Just until I have the design in hand and see the casting master on that, I won't swear to it. The artist rendition is probably pretty close, but we might be able to get a little bit better.
I gotcha. I think it looks good as is. I mean, even if that's all it comes out, that'll be good. And then the last one on that was the State of Maine boxcar. Is that a standard O tooling with the plug door, or is that just what you guys had on hand for the artwork? So is that actually a standard O plug door boxcar, or
it is the standard O plug door box? Yes.
Nice.
And I think this is the one that has the plug door on there. Yeah.
Sweet. And that's also the New Haven version and not the Bangor Heuristic. So I don't think that one gets done as much. So that's also another reason to buy the set, folks.
And then if you want that car, you have to buy the set to get it.
Pretty much, yeah. And the exclusive engine number 2.
That's true. And then the, real quick, the caboose, that's not going to be a Vision Line caboose, or is it?
No, that's just a straight caboose.
Cool.
Alrighty. And did we have any stuff on the King Cole set for questions, or was that everything?
No, that's all I got. And that's actually all the questions I have from the Discord, as a matter of fact.
Oh, fantastic! Then we can just do all our own stuff. No, we got some more. Penzi called them what? Cabin cars. Yeah, we got some what are these, N5s? I'm always bad with
N5s. Yep.
Great ones there. You got the War Bonds, Penzi. Get some Long Island love. Long Island's been getting a lot of love lately.
It's been getting a lot of sales lately too, so that certainly helps us love it more.
Oh yeah.
The passenger N5 is beautiful. I love that car. I know the previous run, the graphics were a little bit different. I was kind of expecting this, but that's a nice car still. Nonetheless, I'll probably grab that. Beautiful car.
Good to see PRSL love too. Lots of really good dedicated fans of that. They'll love. Got some Penzi prototype boxcars here. I think this is a pretty accurate tooling to Penzi, isn't it?
Yeah, the X31 tooling's pretty good. it's some of our not new tooling by any means, but newer tooling as compared to some of the other projects that we've done. And 2 road numbers each in a variety of prototypical paint schemes. The merchandise service is a bit of a stretch. They never applied that paint scheme to that style of car, but it's one of their better looking paint schemes, and figured why not.
Oh yeah, looks good. Who cares? And then, lots of good stuff on these pages. We got the rocket booster, the flat cars. Or no, I don't think they are the rocket booster tooling, but
yes, yes, they are.
On them.
Mm-hmm.
That is excellent.
Although, without the rest of the rocket there, I mean, these things could be casks of whatever you want them to be, or part of a turbine load, or you go ahead, you figure out what it is.
Yeah, I think it's really cool how you've kind of reused that. And actually, the AEC one, I think that'll go nicely with the AEC set that's coming out. And,
yes, it should. That and the tank car should both go nicely with that set.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And then actually the container with the radioactive sign in it, I mean, that doesn't look too far off from like the real casks that they use to transport nuclear waste.
Oh yeah.
It's not. I mean, they usually don't. I don't think they usually sit on their side, but it's not too far off. I mean, it could pass for like a nuclear waste transport car or something.
I know it's a nuclear waste car, but could you put a beer label on the side of
that? we've been talking about that. Yes, we have plenty more good ideas for what kinds of cans we can put on these flat cars.
Awesome. That'd be so cool.
Oh, those will sell. Yeah, those tankers are great. They're so versatile, and again, it looks like you're using the new what do you call it? Double walled tooling to its advantage.
Yeah, the new double wall tooling for the AEC car. That set was one of the standouts from the last catalog in terms of comments, and then also backed up with in orders. And people made it pretty clear they wanted more than just the 3 cars that came in the set. So, here's a couple. This will look really right at home in there with that fuel load inside, and whatnot. Fits in there perfectly.
That's an iconic Lionel brand too.
Mm-hmm.
And then more hotbox reefers.
This is going to be a cool car. I was just playing with the sample test code last week in the engineering room, and it's a lot of fun. I think people are really going to enjoy this. A nice upgrade over the earlier version of the car from the TMCC days.
And now you don't have to spend $400 on a Golden Gate Depot reefer to get that fantastic REA scheme.
There you go. Yeah, it's not the correct body style for that paint scheme, but such a good looking paint scheme. And we figured if we put some of these in the express reefers, then you could have some fun on your passenger trains too, if you wanted to have a hot box there, or run them in a freight consist. It's your railroad. Do as you see fit. But the Great Northern ACL and REA paint schemes were really nice head end cars, and just wanted to add them into the lineup.
Yeah, these are great.
We appreciate the ACL. I've never had a hotbox reefer, and I don't really know anything about them. So obviously, I'm going to get the ACL because it's ACL. But can you tell me like what I can expect from it?
Sure. So if you've had any of our Vision reefers in the past, it'll have a lot of the same features as that. As it's rolling along, you get the clickety clack sounds and whatnot. And then you have loading and unloading and icing sequences in the car. So you have the same things there that you have on the Vision line cars. When you stop it, you can run through the different sequences of the car being loaded or iced or being emptied out. And then there's also with this one, the hotbox feature, which you can activate when the car is rolling along. And when you activate the feature, it will start with some dialogue. You'll hear them saying, "Hey, anybody smell that? Hear that noise?" And the longer you go, the louder the squeaking, more consistent the squeaking of the journal will get. After a little while, then you'll start to see a red light flicker. It's set above the truck, so it looks like the truck is starting to glow. and then the smoke unit kicks on, and you'll start to get smoke drifting up from the end of the boxcar there. And the sounds get louder and the dialogue picks up. And this all continues until, you stop the train, and then they put out the fire and cool the journal, and then you go back on your merry way. So you could stop it early in the sequence before it gets too crazy and keep on rolling, or you can let it go all the way until the thing is smoking and squealing down the track with a hot box. It's a fun little feature that's user controlled, so you can play it as often as you like on the layout. It won't just randomly continue to do that to you over and over again either. So you can control how many times you have to deal with it.
That's really cool. I'm really excited for this now. I was excited already, but I am super excited now.
It's a fun piece for sure.
That's very cool. It's awesome to hear that you guys not only made it its own unique thing in terms of the hotbox feature, but the fact that it also has all the standard features from the existing reefers allows you just seamlessly blend it into your train and have all the extra functionality. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that those had all the regular reefer features as well. That's like getting 2 cars in one practically. That's fantastic. Love it. And we got some other good rolling stock offerings. Got some TUFCs. These are always popular with people. You can literally build an infinitesimal train of these and almost never run out of schemes to put on these cars.
Yeah, we keep coming up with new ones every year, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, those are fantastic. And we got the return of a classic we haven't seen in a long time in 3RLO, the Milwaukee Ribside boxcar.
Yes, this is the old Weaver tooling. We never had a chance to run it early on in the Lion Scale line, but we're finally bringing them back here. I know there's some pent up demand for these cars in the market. So whether you're a Milwaukee fan or not, having a couple of these in your yard just breaks up the look of all those PS1 and other box cars. Just something a little bit different, and they really do jump out in the train. So all prototypical paint schemes here, and 2 road numbers each. The spent grain cars there do have the hatches on the roof, which is a neat little car also.
The Route of the Electrified Olympian, I love that one. I know, John, when you showed me that one, I think it was like last year or something, I always thought it was really cool, and I'm like, yeah, it's a beautiful car. So that was really fun.
Milwaukee
makes me want to buy
stuff.
Polar now.
Yeah, Milwaukee stuff is just so cool. And then we got the AC cars, the hoppers. I think this is also a new one for you guys, with the sort of, because you guys have done these short hoppers before, but this one has the sort of peak in the middle with the 2 separate bins. Is that correct?
Yeah, this has the open side panel between the 2 inner slope sheets for the hopper, which I always thought was neat. Just gave it a little bit of just a different look over your PS2, your normal PS2 car, but similar in size. And again, some fun paint schemes. We really did hit the ACL guys pretty hard in this catalog. I must have been on an ACL kick.
I was going to say, it's like there's another one.
I am not complaining. It is fantastic. If you want to keep rolling with that into the next catalogs, you will not hear any complaints from me.
I love that. Yeah, you're single-handedly bringing back the ACL market. It's great. And then we got more continue, because I think you guys started this last time, sort of doing the super weathered hoppers with some of those smaller hoppers, the Winchester and Western, and some of the other ones with the graffiti.
Yes,
you're really doing it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had those on the PS2s, and we've seen some early deco samples of those, and they look really awesome. I think people are going to be happy, and once you get a few of them on your railroad, you're going to want more of these things. So, the graffiti's been really popular over the last several years, so we're just sort of taking it to the next step and adding some of nature's own art to the side of these cars. And we didn't show both sides of all the cars here just on the sake of of space on the page, but obviously each side of the cars has its own graffiti, its own rust streaks, and so forth. And I think they're going to be really cool looking cars.
Yeah, I'm excited about these. I think they're going to look great. That Family Lines one, it reminds me of being a kid, because growing up here in Georgia, we would see Family Lines stuff a lot. And so I'm really excited about that.
I think one observation I had is I think the price point on these are actually really good, because if you go out and have some, I mean, if you don't want to do it yourself, if you have somebody like custom, do a graffiti or a rust on your cars, and that can get really expensive. So I think this is a good price point for people who want this kind of like graffiti, like weathered car, and those rust streaks look awesome on these.
Yeah, the effect is really convincing. There's, of course, if you really, really love doing this kind of weathering work, this is your starting point, and you can still take it to the next level and add more and go crazy. But if you've got weather phobia and you've never tried it or don't want to give it, you don't want to ruin a model, hey, this gets you a good bit of the way there, and you've got a nice looking car that doesn't look like it just came right out of the box on your layout.
Yep, good point.
Yeah, we got some more hoppers to go with our excellent coal engines. A bunch of different eras too. We got some modern CSX stuff. We got CNO, Alaska. Some good Alaska love. That's a popular road name. You get a lot of Alaska lovers, and then some fantastic B&O.
Yeah, a couple different paint schemes on these. These all have that that peaked end there on the ends of the cars. All of them available in 7 total road numbers, so 2 3-packs, and then a single car, depending on if you just want one or you want a whole train of them. You've got some options here. Really nice cars. Now the separate sale cars that you're seeing here, these do not come with the loads, but the new loads are available separately if you want to get them and add them to any of these separate sale cars, or the earlier Lion scale cars that we've done, or the old Weaver tooling cars. All of the Weaver, Lion scale, now Lionel, 2-bay, 3-bay, and 4-bay hoppers have the same footprint. So whether it's an offset side or has the exterior post, the interior dimensions of those cars are all the same. So these will fit, regardless of the body style, these will fit in any of those cars. They're not going to fit necessarily in like the Lionel GLA hoppers, or the some of the older H43 style 100-ton hoppers, 3-bay hoppers. Those would need their own loads. But the old Weaver tooling cars, any of those, these will drop right in and be a nice add-in for you if you don't want to make a whole ton of coal loads on your own.
That's good to know. That's really good info. So those will fit in most all the that's fantastic. And then we got the
I love the Pennsylvania one. Sorry, John.
No. I was literally just going to go on to that topic. That's such a great choice for a car deco scheme. It's so unique.
Yeah. So the Pensy long-term leased a bunch of Norfolk and Western H2 hoppers, and that's what this paint scheme is based off of. The model is not exact for that type of car, but it's the closest thing for. This is the closest Pensy hopper that matches, to this style of tooling for sure. So that's where we went, and that's why you see the darker black patches there, where they painted out the N&W lettering. But a lot of the small print and other things stayed in the same fonts. So neat cars on the Pensy for sure.
Very cool pieces.
And those, Sorry, John.
No, please go ahead.
Would those cars, Pensy long-term lease them? Yes, but did they ever wander their way back into N&W?
Oh, sure.
In that Pensy scheme.
Yeah, absolutely, they did. Yep, and they interchanged as well. They were not in captive unit train service or anything like that, to the best of my recollection. So you can mix them up and shuffle them about, or send them back down to the N&W. They did all sorts of fun things like that.
No kidding. So, I mean, in theory, you could buy the King Cole set and all those add-on cars and the Pensys and have a super long coal train.
You certainly could.
There you go.
And you certainly should.
honestly.
All right, and I think that's all the scale stuff. We're on to traditional now. It's a great bunch of stuff, and right out of the gate, we got the we discussed a little bit before, but the Lion Master J3A.
Enjoying this week's topic? You can join in on the conversation too on our community Discord server. We have a lot of different discussion channels, ranging from showing off your collection, discussing the latest and greatest in the industry, a buy and sell forum, and even a voice channel you can hop on call and talk Trainz with us late into the night. We're a little over 300 strong and we'll love to have you join us too. Check out the invite link to our community Discord down in the show notes. Read and acknowledge the rules, and introduce yourself and start chatting. We have a great team of moderators who make sure all are welcomed and respected. So what are you waiting for? Come on down and join us in on the fun, and let's talk some Trainz.
Yeah, it was time to bring this tooling back. We haven't done it in quite a long time. Again, the Lion Masters afford the ability to have that higher level of detail on locomotives versus, some of the other LC2 locomotives. And what's really great about these is, the higher detail, you still get to run it on your tighter curves, your smaller layouts, but packed full of features like the LC 2.0 locomotives are, the ability to run it with multiple operating systems, whether it be, conventional or with the, the new Cab3 app or the universal remote. A lot of options there, but again, a lot of detail for a good value price.
Yeah, these
What's really
engines
cool about
are extremely good. Oh, I'm
they
sorry.
look so good. With the New York Central Line Master Hudson and then some fantasy schemes there. I think right now that the favorite might be the Pacemaker scheme, but the Lionel line scheme I think is really classy as well.
Yeah, you guys picked some real good ones. You've been paying attention to which of your fantasy schemes do well because this reflects those offerings. This is good stuff to see. This is excellent. And so we're gonna see. Obviously, Line Master was always kind of like the top tier for traditional scale. So I'm sure these are going to look really, really good for a lot of people who want something a little bit more out of their traditional scale stuff.
Yeah, always fun to bring back a fan favorite with new features.
Excellent. What else we got here? Let's get some more of the excellent, almost scale-sized GP38s and some really good-looking schemes.
Yeah, I really love doing diesel locomotives because we're able to pick some really fun paint schemes. Ryan actually brought the CSX CPKC collaboration to us with it being their first hydrogen power loco. It was unveiled in about April of 2024. So that's a really fun one to do. Again, it's got their really unique paint scheme on it. We have Canadian Pacific, the Ohio Central, which if anytime I get a chance to do a diesel locomotive, if Ryan says I can, I throw an Ohio locomotive in it. So it has the Ohio Central with the Operation Lifesaver branding on it, and then the Paducah and Louisville and the Seabourn system.
Yeah, these look really good. That CSX is definitely probably going to be one of the best sellers out of the catalog there. That's just such a neat locomotive. You guys got that out pretty quickly too. I think they just did that engine pretty recently.
Yeah, it was a no-brainer. We definitely had to do this scheme. It's very unique.
Yeah, those look fantastic. All right, so what else we got? And then we got I think your first ever CPKC product, maybe the first CPKC thing in any O scale form at all.
Yeah, this was really cool because the employees of CPKC, when the merger was completed, actually voted on this paint scheme. So being able to honor them in that way and come out with their first paint scheme, we've been watching and looking at all the photos as it came out and trying to make it as accurate as we possibly could, while also honoring, Kansas City Southern and Canadian Pacific with their own separate trailers on there. This is a really fun one to do, and I think a lot of people are going to be happy with this set.
Yeah, that's a really, really good choice for that, especially with all the publicity too that just happened with the merger going down. So that one should do really well. Those diesel modern sets are always great sellers.
Yeah, they're fun, and I always like the removable trailers, the ability to mix and match stuff. Really good set and really great colors on it.
Fantastic. What else we got in here? Oh yeah. Oh, more Area 51. That is another one of your guys' best sellers.
Yeah, this is a scheme that kind of hits year over year over year. What's fun about the Area 51 stuff is that we really try to make sure that colors and logos and things always mix and match back with stuff that we've done in the past. The UFO recovery set, I think, is a really fun one because it's got a lot of play value with it. You have the transport car. It's got the backlit green LED lighting with the aliens being carried inside. You also have the derrick car with the manually operating boom and the caboose that has the searchlight on it that will rotate as the locomotive goes down the track. We wanted to make sure we had some separate cell pieces as well. So we have the Area 51 helicopter flat car add-on and the maxi stack. And again, tying it together with previous sets that we've done, but also really making it feel like a fun set that, you know, UFO comes down and crashes around the rails, and this train set can come and recover it.
Yeah, no, this stuff is always super, super popular. And then you got even more stuff, some scale stuff with the hot box reefer. That's fantastic with the kind of Roswell-y New Mexico paint scheme on there. This is just really smart use of tooling right here.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun with it. With the tank car accident that utilizes the 8K tank, it made sense for Ryan and I both to kind of throw some items in there, utilizing that same tank car, but then putting a different road number on it. So you'll see it on the accident with the new tooling for an alien sculpt inside of it. So we'll have that liquid in there, which we've never done before, and then a huge alien figure in there. And then the light on the tank car accident will be like glowing green to simulate like a spill. And new figures have also are going to be tooled for this, and then we'll sell those separate sale as well. Getting some fun scale pieces too. We couldn't resist. Ryan had to throw in a hot box reefer and the heavy duty flat car. Again, both really cool, unique features on those pieces. Being able to have the glow in the dark with Area 51 just makes sense.
Yeah, these are really, really good pieces. I love that you guys are doing the smart marketing synergy here, coming up with Beetlejuice, good Halloween / film crossover here.
Beetlejuice is one of my favorite Halloween movies of all time. So I really need everyone to rally and purchase these so that these can be made, because I think they're going to be awesome. And we've had a lot of fun recently doing the lighted box cars. So doing the lighted box car with the Beetlejuice sign, it's got like that backlit illumination, kind of adds a little bit of depth to the side of the car. I think it's going to turn out really, really cool. The movie comes out in September. We have the box car here that celebrates the original movie with the stills from the original movie. So it kind of hits like the key highlights from that movie. Obviously, you have to show the model town that they've got there, the handbook for the recently deceased, him saying it's showtime. Going to be really fun. I love them. I think they're in the great color scheme, and I think it's going to match really well with all the other Halloween stuff that we do.
I'm the most with the ghost, babe.
That was impressive.
I had to get something in there. I absolutely love Beetlejuice, and talk about perfect timing with the sequel coming out. So
yeah, I'm really excited about these, and I hope everyone else is too.
Are they making a Beetlejuice sequel?
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Interesting.
You asked me, I'm telling you. Yes, I love those questions. Oh, I said I was going to do it once, but I was going to do it.
I thought he was going to say the juice is loose for a second.
Is Michael Keaton going to be in the sequel?
Yeah, he's Beetlejuice.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Best part, no aging makeup needed. Oh, man. And then we got some more American history cars. we got St. Louis. What else we got here? Tons of good stuff.
Yeah, we started this series a couple years ago, and we knew it was going to be successful, but I think it's exceeded our expectations. It's our opportunity to just celebrate really historic moments and figures and anniversaries in American history, but specifically connected to railroad history. Our connection, as the brand. And so we have 2 new anniversaries featured here, and also a really special tribute. The first anniversary is the 150th anniversary of the Eads Bridge, which was actually a combined road and railway bridge completed in 1874. So it was designed by James Buchanan Eads, who was actually an engineer who built gunboats for the Union in the Civil War, which is really interesting. But the bridge itself was really an engineering feat and a marvel of its day, because it was the largest bridge and first steel bridge of its time. And it's still in use today. You get a great view of the famous Gateway Arch from the bridge. And I just think that this is really going to be a home run for anyone, of course, local to that area as well. And then we have the Denver South Park and Pacific Railroad 150th anniversary since first operation. And so this was a historic 3-foot narrow gauge railroad that operated in Colorado back in the 19th century. So it served Colorado's mining industry, and it features some really amazing scenic routes. A lot of tourists actually can still visit some of the restored stations and track segments today. And just to comment on these 2 anniversary cars, as you can see in the Eads Bridge, we've added that sort of arch detail to the car just for some added effect. And we also like to put some interesting facts, historical relevant facts to the bottom of the car there, just kind of added touch of detail. And then the last but not least, probably my favorite, is a tribute to Roxy, the Long Island Railroad dog. And for those who aren't familiar, way back in 1901, a young lady boards the Long Island Railroad train. She's heading towards Roslyn. She hands her puppy, a terrier pit bull mix named Roxy, to a railroad employee. But due to a really unfortunate mix-up, or fortunate in this case, Roxy ends up separating from the railroad employee. And for the next 13 years, Roxy travels the rails, where he has all kinds of adventures and meets new friends. And Roxy also enjoyed plenty of privileges, including a lifetime railroad pass at Long Island Railroad. He had the best seat on the train, even a seafood dinner served to him weekly, which I think is amazing. He had a $300 bank account at the Corn Exchange Bank to cover any bills he may need. And when Roxy ended up passing away, not only did he make New York State headlines in 1914, but he received a proper memorial and burial that a lot of people still visit today and leave flowers. So really special car here, and hopefully one that'll resonate with, train lovers and enthusiasts and even historic buffs.
I have never heard that story, and I absolutely love that. That is fantastic. Anything to do with animals and stuff is just, it's going to be a winner.
I was going to say, you just got me right in the feels. Oh my goodness.
That is so sweet. Oh my God. And also another fantastic Long Island piece too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is going to resonate with Long Island Railroad fans probably the most.
Also, another great thing about these cars, if anybody who has owned one, these things always, because these are part of the Made in USA series, right? These have a really good texture and sheen to them for anyone who's owned these. I don't know what it is, but no other cars you do have this. It's really, really nice when you get one of these in your hands.
Yeah, our team here in North Carolina, they do a great job. The attention to detail and the quality assurance process is of the highest standard. So I think that's one of the reasons why our customers are able to enjoy the product so much.
Yeah, those are great choices this time around. And again, like you guys, I always say I learned so much history just from these catalogs and from you guys as a company of stuff I didn't know before. So it's always nice learning these new things. And got some excellent cabooses here. Some new addition to the cafe caboose idea, which is real great. I think I literally went to something that looked exactly like that in a little North Carolinian town. So that might come home with me. That's really cool.
There are plenty of these that have been around the country that people have repurchased and repurposed for all kinds of different businesses. So we took a lot of inspiration from that. I've seen there's one close to us that's like a hamburger shop that looks really cool. And what's fun about these accessories is that you get that decking kit with it. It's so easy to put together. You can stain it, you can paint it. I've even put it together without any glue, and it's stood perfectly fine. Dave did a great job designing it. But it's fun because not only can you park it on a siding, you could decide to, move it and have it run on the layout as well.
Yeah, it's a really good case of getting to double dip with a model there. That would look great, just like on a little for anyone who's got like a tourist railroad or just wants something different. That's a really good piece.
Yeah, it's fun, and I think you'll probably see more of these in years to come.
All right, then we got some stuff going over the Base 3, which is shipping out right now, I think. Starting to see these trickle into the market.
Yeah, I got to go pick mine up. It's over at Legacy Station.
Zach went and got ours yesterday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, these should be, they're on their way to dealers. Yeah, the long awaited, and hopefully you all are getting them soon. Anxious to see people's reactions and learn it as you're picking these up or before you pick them up. The app is already available online. If you haven't downloaded it already, you can go to your Microsoft or Apple Play Store or App Store and type in Lionel Cab 3, and it should take you right to it. Download that. You can play with the Bluetooth side already without the Base 3, but you can start to get used to the functions and so forth. And then highly, 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 can't overstate it enough, recommend that you go and check out control.lionel.com for your instruction manuals and how-tos and videos from Dave and everything you need to know to get started and enjoy using your Base 3 as soon as you get it home. But hookup couldn't be easier, and so far the reactions I've heard have all been really positive.
I do have one quick question. Is the Base 3 something you guys are going to continue to make so that it's always available? Because like I know with the old Legacy sets, they stopped making them after a while, and then they became incredibly hard to find. So yes. Is this something you guys plan on doing, like, making it so that's always available?
Yes, this is the command control platform for us for the foreseeable future. And we actually increased the order. The first order that we put in for these initially had already sold out by the time we were getting into production. So we added an additional order of units, and another container showed up a couple of days ago at the office. So we have more in stock already. Some of our dealers have already gone through their initial allocation, but we still have a good supply of these on hand to get us through the next couple of years, at least, we think. But this is product, unlike the Base 2 and the Cab 2, this is a product that we can support and we'll continue to keep in production and hope to have it as an evergreen product in the line. I can't say it'll never be out of stock because we all know how that works in the world, but the plan, of course, is like track. This is something you'll be able to get a hold of.
Right. Cool.
So what you're saying is I shouldn't hold out for the Base 4.
Yes, I think that for as much enjoyment as you will get out of the Base 3 over the next couple of years and decades, it is money well spent.
Gotcha. Thank you.
It doesn't matter what scale you're in. Model railroaders are all the same when it comes to power and control systems. We can never have enough locomotives, but to spend a few $100s on the control system that makes us able to use all of our locomotives is like, do I really need another transformer? Do I really need another cab? Do I need? But yes, definitely invest in this. It is. It should be the last control system you ever need to buy.
That's great. We everybody knows you guys definitely did your homework on this and took your time. So this is going to be a good product.
Well, I know we are as excited as all of you to see it finally out into the market. That is for sure.
I think Sid had a couple questions on it, so I won't steal his thunder.
Yeah, my question was more so just if you had any feedback on the base 30 or the app yet, or if it's still just that early that you haven't heard anything.
Things are starting to come in, and one of the things I would encourage everybody to do, like all new apps, there are bound to be a few glitches here or there depending on the phone or device that you're using and so forth. So if you do come across anything that seems to be out of the ordinary, feel free to send us an email or give us a call. Again, talk to us at lionel.com or 1-800-4-LIONEL. And we've set up the call center with a tracker sheet for any bugs that might be encountered. So far, we really haven't found too many. There have been a few, but nothing too crazy. And we can get those fixed. That's one of the nice things about this sort of format is we can push updates very easily. You don't need black modules or anything like that to update the base or update your cab as new things come available, whether it's an update or just new features as we continue to grow and add more things into it. Our first sort of rollout with this was a couple of weeks ago out at the LCCA convention in Omaha. And we set up the base 3 on one of the modular layouts out there and invited people to download the app to their phone if they hadn't yet and try it for the first time. And a lot of the people who we were working with out there had never run a train with anything other than a conventional transformer or maybe a cab 1, a few of them a cab 2. And a lot of them really took to it a lot quicker than they thought they would and enjoyed it. So we have multiple people connecting through the base to the same locomotives and so forth, and got to see how it would play in that sort of an environment with folks, and people seem to really enjoy it. So I think as we get more of these out there over the next couple of days and weeks, you'll see a lot more things popping up for sure as people get a chance to go and pick theirs up. Hookup couldn't be easier, and you'll be up and running very quickly. But yeah, definitely check out the control.lionel.com. That's where you will find all of the instruction manuals. And Dave Olson will be doing a live stream. I believe it is August 8th, coming up in the not too distant future, depending on when this airs. He'll be doing a live Base 3 stream with our friends at Train World. And then also will be continuing to do his demos with Dave updates on a regular basis as these get out there in the market and he has more good things to show and talk about.
So like I said, we did get ours yesterday. The one thing that we've noticed is we have to manually add in all of our engines. Is that normal? Do you know?
I think there is a way to import that if you have them on an existing legacy system. I'm pretty sure there is a way to import that into the base 3. Again, check out the control.lionel.com and see if there's a section there on that. I can also probably look it up as we're talking here, but that'll be really exciting for all of your podcast listeners to go through. But definitely check that out because I'm pretty sure there is a way to transfer that data over. I just haven't done it myself personally yet. And the best thing with anything like this is to get it in your hands and play with it. That's how you'll really learn what to do and what it can do and how it all works.
Perfect. That sounds good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we're coming to the end of the catalog there. Did anybody else have anything else we should touch on before we close up here? Any last minute things you want to discuss or just anything you want to touch on, Ryan or Megan or Corey or anybody else?
Just a few last parting thoughts from me. Thank you as always, everybody, for coming on and funneling us questions and letting us talk about what we do and the fun we have at Lionel. Really enjoy it. Really appreciate that. We've got a few more weeks yet open in the order window. Dealers will probably start closing their orders around the middle of August, depending on whether or not they have to go to a distributor and then get the numbers to us and so forth. So we've still got a couple of weeks ahead of us as I'm looking at the calendar now. So whittle down your wish lists and get ready, and then get ready for some more fun announcements later this year and into 2025 as we get ready for turning 125 years young and having a great time with things in the year ahead. We've got a lot of fun stuff in store, and we're all really excited at Lionel to be part of a company like this at a time like this when we've got a lot to be thankful for, a lot to be proud of, and a lot to look forward to. So thank you all for having us on, and everybody stay safe and cool out there this summer, and we look forward to seeing you sometime soon.
Oh, that's a fantastic closer there, Ryan. Yes, everybody start getting your orders in. It is going to be, I can't wait to see what you guys are going to be doing for the anniversary. That's really, really exciting. So I think we're going to wrap this up here now. So we obviously have an amazing community, and we'd like to take a moment to shout out some of our fantastic people who have boosted our server and help keep the lights on here at the Miniature Models podcast so we can do all these wonderful shows. We've got SDIV Tim's Trainz, Blue Comet Fan 833, Matty C Trainz, Newt 1969, Commodore Ghost Ninja, The Rambles, Hard Work Pays Off, Dashing Dance Trains, Everyday's Life, and SD70 Train Fan. We appreciate you guys so much. It is you who inspires to keep the show going. And as we always say, we make this show for all of you guys. Wow, that was another fantastic catalog show. Our stop is coming up next, and sadly, we all must part ways for now. But if you would like to get more of us off the air, where can folks find you? Ryan, where can folks find Lionel?
You can find Lionel wherever quality trains are sold. We are on the web at lionel.com. We are on all of the major social medias places. Just search under Lionel Trainz, lionel.com. For customer service inquiries or any other issues, talk to us at lionel.com. You can also send product requests there. They will reach the three of us very quickly that way. Or you can give us a call at 1-800-4-LIONEL and stay up with all we've got to come.
That is fantastic. Peachy, where can folks find you?
Absolutely. So you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Peachy's Trainz. So just search Peachy's Trainz on those social media sites and you will find me.
I love it. Fantastic. Mr. Eric Siegel, where can folks find you?
Just search for Eric's Trainz on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, or X, I guess I should say. It's all under Eric's Trainz and easy to find.
Yes, indeed. People should know you by now. Let's see. And we got Mr. Sid. Where can folks find you, my good sir?
You can find me on YouTube, Sid's Trainz. Just search that on YouTube. On Instagram, I'm Sydney's Trainz. And then you can also see me messaging and talking with people on the podcast Discord server under the same name as YouTube, Sid's Trainz.
Yes, indeed. Mr. Matt Rochford, where can folks find you, sir?
All right. Well, first thing first, Ryan, Megan, Corey, Eric, and Peachy, thank you for taking the time out to come on to the podcast. We really, really appreciate it. I know we're all busy, so you taking the time out to come on and talk with us is really important, and we really appreciate it. As for where you can find me on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram as WC Model Railroad.
Excellent. Mr. Matt Z, where can folks find you?
I'm going to quickly echo what Matt just said. To all our guests, all our listeners, thank you so much for listening to the show. And Ryan and the Lionel folks, Peachy, Eric, thank you for coming on. Always a fantastic time to talk with you guys. And forgive me, I'm getting over a cold, so I don't sound the way I normally would. But big thanks to all you guys for coming on. Really appreciate it. I had a great time tonight. For myself, you can find me on YouTube under Matt-TrainLover9943, Facebook under the same name, Instagram Matts.hobbies, and like Sid said, on the Miniature Models Discord server. Always a fun time there.
I love it. And Mr. Johnny, where can folks find you, sir?
I must have fallen down the same rabbit hole as you guys, because I'm going to also echo that sentiment as well. Thank you so much, all the great folks here tonight from the YouTube sphere and also from Lionel. It's you guys who make this hobby great and help promote the growth of this hobby for the long-term future. And, just from the little kid who would read all the Lionel catalogs, it's always a dream to be able to talk with the folks from Lionel directly. So you guys all rock, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. You can find me on YouTube at Audamus. That's AUDAMUS. I would promise you normally that I'd be working on a video, but I keep doing a gazillion other projects, so I'll leave the empty promises to the politicians, and we'll show you a bunch of other cool stuff on my Instagram. That is Audamus_Trainz. You can also find me at Facebook at the same name as well. Keep an eye on that space, as Sid and John will be coming out here to Chicago to hang out with us. So if you want to see what crazy, wacky shenanigans we get up to there, keep an eye on our space and on our podcast Instagram as well. Last but not least, you can find me on the Miniature Models Podcast Community Discord server, where I'm always there interacting with you guys in the chat and making a fool of myself. And we also love doing some voice calls where we get to answer some questions and have a good old time. So come on down. It's lots of fun. Sid, not Sid, excuse me. I can't talk. John, how about you, my man?
You can find me. Oh, before I do, I'm also going to echo the sentiment shared by all my wonderful co-hosts. It's crazy and like so wonderful that you guys are. We can even do this with you all. Like it blows me away every time that we have such a great community where we can talk with you all. We have great friends. You guys take time out of your busy schedule to come and talk with us. It's just wonderful, and it's such a great, it just says so much about the way you care about us as a community to come talk with us. So, Megan, Ryan, Corey, thank you all so much for being here again. Peachy, Sid, and Eric, thank you for being our friends here at the podcast and for coming on and just, goofing off and foaming over this new catalog as we do. It just blows me away every time that we have such a great bunch of people here. And you can find me at the Miniature Models Podcast Discord server as well with all my wonderful friends here. It's a great place. If you're not a member yet, why not come join us? And you can find me on Instagram at RetroMikado96. I'm very active on there, and also somewhat less active on YouTube at RetroMikado. And you can also find the Miniature Models Podcast on Instagram at Miniature Models Podcast. Just look for that beautiful blue nickel plate Rode MMP Alco nose on there. It's a great place to get some exclusive content you can get nowhere else. But yeah, that's pretty much everything for the night, guys. That was an amazing show. Again, thank you all so much for being here. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you much. Good night, everybody.
Take good care, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.